All right, welcome back to It's Time Picks. We've got UFC Fight Night, Song versus Gutierrez. And actually, this card I'm slightly excited for. Although we did lose a ton of fights, this card has the potential to have a quite a bit of finishes on it. At least that's how I have it chalked up. I know a bunch of others do as well. But, it's UFC and MMA, so you just really never know. You got any thoughts on the card before we jump into it?
So thank God originally they added fights because I was not going to be excited for a 10 fight card. Then it went from 10 to 12 to 11 to 10 and back to 11. Thank God. Um, but
Well,
as
it's
a
not
whole,
Saturday yet.
man, don't say that. Howard, if you're listening, don't be jinxing nothing, brother. Um, but yeah, I don't want none of that jinxing. Hopefully everyone just makes weight tomorrow and we get good action. But only thing I'll say is this fight card was supposed to be in Shanghai. Thank you, Lord, it's not. Because that's a late start time for a car where I get tired and go to sleep.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's jump into it. The very first fight on the card is Rayanne Amanda against Talita Alinkar. We don't really have a lot to say on this fight. I'm not going to actually pick anybody to win this fight. This fight is completely up in the air. There's not a whole lot of tape on either one of them, and there's just not really a whole lot to go off of.
Yeah, as Drake said, not much to really go over. I know Drake said he has one side to win. I don't really have a side either, but it's probably a fight. I'm probably staying away from DFS though.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is at the 7,900 and 8,300, so you kind of just have to guess and
Pray.
hope for DFS and GPP contests, but let's jump into the actual fights that we know about. And first run up, we got Tatsuro Taira against Carlos Hernandez. And let's let you start this one off.
Ira's been a very good prospect. I think the UFC does plan to build him up. And originally, when this card was in Shanghai, he was on the main card for this card. Now he's back down, I guess, for some of his country people that can watch him if they want to see him early. I think Tyra's going to pretty much do whatever he wants to Carlos Hernandez. Yes, Carlos is not a bad prospect by any means. He's going to be the better clean boxer if you want to come by straight punches, but I think Tyra's going to have him everywhere. There's times where Tyra's going to take him down. And I really do believe if he gets the back early when they're both dry, there's a chance Tyra could smash his price tag on DraftKings or FanDuel, whatever you guys want to play on. And he's going to absolutely smash his price tag and score in the hundreds and get a
Yep,
submission win.
I agree. I'm on Tyra as well. I don't think this is the fight that ends his undefeated streak. He's 14-0 for a reason. Carlos Hernandez was submitted by Nascimento, another potential grappler. Tyra is right up there with him, except Tyra is a much better striker than Nascimento. All that said, after Tyra's fight with Edgar Gutierrez, I am not really sure Tyra gets stopped until he gets in somewhere in the top 15. So I
Oh,
like that.
speaking about, not to cut you off, not about Tyra, he has the blonde hair now.
Going the
He went pure
Figueredo
blonde.
style. That'll be
So let's see if
interesting.
that does anything for
But yeah, so I love Tyra in this for all contests. I think he continues his ridiculous streak. So both of us going with the favorite and Tyra. Next up, we got Stephanie Egger against Luana Santos. Santos came out in her debut and just made an
embarrassed.
absolute showing. She just murdered Juliana Miller. And I really think that this fight's going to be pretty much the same. Egger is nothing special. The only thing she can do is wrestle and grapple. And contrary to the debut, Santos actually is a credentialed grappler. We just didn't get to see it because she murdered Juliana Miller with strikes, which could also happen in this one. If Santos comes out the same way she did, she's going to knock Egger out. Santos is another one of those plays that should pay off their tag. So I'm all over Santos.
So I was actually torn on this fight because, for one, it just proves one, Julian Miller is not UFC caliber. She needs to go back to the lower levels and work her way back up. But there's two ways I see this fight going. One of them you named. If Edgar cannot wrap up and get the takedown on this girl, I think Santos could absolutely let her hands fly and get one of those weird standing TKOs against the cage. But I have a worry about to this also. She's still very green, hasn't faced the overall best comp, but like I said, she's very dangerous, comes forward. My only worry is she's a good hammer, but can she be a nail? That's the only concern I have about that. To where if she comes in wild, similar to Miller, and looked like Miller had no intentions to grapple at all, That's not what Edgar's going to do. Edgar's not one of them girls that she follows a game plan if she knows that she needs to close the distance and grab. It might be one of those situations where if Santos comes in, tries to blast her with an overhand, and she gets too wild, Edgar can catch her, and I will guarantee she will go for a ride. But then the questions come up, the youth. She hasn't fought no one. Has she ever been, in danger? Edgar can put her in danger. She's not a scrub on the ground by any means. Now,
I
look, on the
disagree.
ground,
I
she's not a
disagree.
bum.
I
I
disagree.
say that, look, she's a live dog. If you think that she can hold Santos and Santos might fold,
I
that's why I say
disagree.
she's the only dog. I'm on Santos,
Disagree.
though. I am on Santos. All I'm
No.
saying is if you need someone to pay down to, and if you think Edgar can slow down this kid's prospect hype, there's a chance because she might
How
be
many
point
how
blanket.
many fighters do you know that have a scarf hold arm lock and a key lock submission? Because Santos does.
Oh, I know she does. But all I'm saying is sometimes you run into the youth when you know what I'm saying. She gets too wild. She can get taken down. I'm not saying she can't get back up because she is a very good credentialed BJJ specialist. But knowing Edgar, how I seen against Bueno Silva, which is not a bad loss, she thought, okay, I got to take down. Bueno was like, no, 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 no. Got the sub. She screamed the tap. Could it be something like that? Maybe it could be. But I don't mind Santos. I'm gonna try to move stuff around. I may try to get a line with her if I play more than one. But yeah, I'm on Santos. But if you need to get down, if you think Edgar can be a boring blanketer, possibility, but I don't necessarily see it.
I disagree with Joey. She's 8,600 in the lock for me in DFS.
It was between her and one other guy. I wouldn't say a lock, but we'll get to that fight later. But
So next up, we won't spend too
Santos,
much.
by the way.
We won't spend too much time on this because this fight was supposed to happen last week. It's Garcia versus Melquizael Costa. Looks like Garcia is over his sickness, so they will be fighting this week. Just a quick recap. I am still on Garcia. That will not change. I think he's the better fighter in this fight, and I think he should be the favorite. His takedown defense is ridiculously good, and his striking is way better. So I'm still on Garcia. Are you changing your pick, or are you still on the favorite?
I'm still on the favorite. And yes, I think this new weight class will help Garcia a little bit when it comes to not cutting so much because he got sick. And Garcia is definitely a live dog. He's on a 2-fight, I'm knocking you out streak. Could it be 3 if Costa does get sloppy? It could very much be 3. That's why I don't got Garcia crossed off as a dog play. But I think Garcia can do enough to survive. Everyone's saying, oh, he's chinny. Okay, he gets into firefights. That's why people think he's chinny. He doesn't get knocked out every time, except for that one fight. Does he get rocked a little bit? Yes, he gets rocked, but he gets his momentum back and he grooves in. He is not a bad dog. I'm going to have him in my dog pool if I need to go down to him. But like I said, I think Costa could do enough to win a decision. I don't think he's going to knock out Garcia. So
no, I think Garcia knocks out Costa.
It's very possible.
Stops
It's
the hype
very
train.
possible.
And on a card like this where the favorites are heavily favorited, and that's the majority of
He's one. I said that with the new weight. I said if it stayed at 145, I said no Costa. No, I said no Garcia if it stayed at 145 because the hospital visit. But now he's staying up a weight, 10 more pounds. So that kind of does help him out. Hopefully, we'll see how he looks on the scale. If Garcia looks absolutely fine, no problem. Like I said, I may circle him in, but I want to see the scales for that one before I actually say, oh, okay, I may be able to trust him. But
yep, no, I don't disagree with that. But I will say that 155. So he's fought anywhere from 135 up to 155. He can fight in all of those. And I think 155 might be where he's most comfortable. I could be wrong there, but it's definitely one of his stronger classes. But
I agree.
We are split on that one. I'm on Garcia. You've got Costa next up. There's not a whole lot to say about this fight. We got Hyun Sung Park against Shannon Ross. Shannon Ross has gone 2 fights in the UFC, has been knocked out in under a minute both fights. Park is extremely dangerous. I don't think he finishes him under a minute, but I do think he finishes him in the first round. He can finish by knockout or submission. In this case, it's probably a submission. Not really sure. I mean, Shannon Ross, when he got signed in the UFC, probably signed a 3-fight contract. He loses this one, he's probably done. So that for me, this is I think Park's going to be one of the most owned fighters on the whole slate, and that's cash and GPP, but it's probably a pick you got to have.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think Park's going to absolutely steamroll him. And as a bet, you can do Park inside the distance because I know his money line's pretty damn high. And that inside the distance prop, I would easily parlay with any other straight other pick that you're confident in for you're going down your picks. Because I think Park inside the distance easy. You could probably even get some plus money or who knows, knowing how bad Shannon Ross been finishing round one, you might get a little minus money on Park in round one, but Park's going to be in every sort of a line, any sort of parlays. He's the easiest play on the slate, as Drake said, for cash, GPP. Just start with him and then slowly work down and see who you like for your other fighters.
I agree. So both of us going with the heavy favorite in Park. Next up, we have Kanan Song against Kevin Jusset. And I will let you run with this one first.
I was on Juiced, his first fight in the UFC. I had to do my overall work and due diligence on it, and I found out he was a training partner, Izzy. But he's one of the main training partners. I didn't know that until just doing this. And I'm like, oh, snap, okay. You're a good striker, good BJJ. If he needs to, he can mix in takedown. He had a good takedown in the fight. And then once he got on the ground, he did whatever the hell he wanted, old boy. This is one I said I'm going back and forth between this fighter and Santos. Maybe I'll have a line where maybe I can try to get to both, because I think there's a chance if both go to plan, they both smash their price tag. I went more for this one because I think Song Kanab, I think he's done after this fight. He got, yes, he got the win over the young prospect the last fight. That fight was close until the third round. I think Josette's going to come in, potentially rock him early. Could it be a knockout? Could it be a sub? Who knows? But I'm probably going to have a bet with Josette inside the distance, which you might be able to get in plus money. I'm not too sure, but I may parlay Josette inside the distance with Park, and you could probably get good plus money on some parlay. So that's a good way I like to see it, because I don't think he gets out of this fight.
Yep, I don't disagree by any means. At first, I was a little torn on the fight just because Song has a lot of. He's a credentialed fighter. He's 21-7. He's got good wins to his name. It took me rewatching the Jusette Crosby fight, Jusette's debut, to remind me how nasty that straight jab is. And my goodness, man, it hurt Crosby so much.
And it looked like he had no power.
I don't think Kanan Song is going to be able to even walk forward in this fight to even try to do anything. I think Jusette's just going to 1, 2, 3 straight down the middle, and eventually he's just going to knock Song out or put him on the ground and submit him. But yeah, I really like Jusette this one. I think he's 8,500, and yeah.
That's why I was back and forth between him and Santos. So
easily one of my favorite plays on the slate.
Yes.
So both of us going with the favorite and Kevin Jusette. Next up, we have Andre Muniz against Jun Young Park. I am once again on Park. I think I've been on Park every fight that he's been in.
Yeah, he has.
I'm a big fan of him. I honestly think he's one of the most underrated fighters in the UFC. He's so technically sound. He's got wrestling. He's got striking. He's got good defense. He does it all. He really does. He only had that one loss to Gregory Rodriguez. He just happened to get clipped in that fight. Every other fight that he's been in, he's just destroyed. And I don't see this one being any different. Muniz is a one-trick pony. He likes to grapple and get behind the neck. And in this fight, I don't think he's going to be able to. Park's way too strong. So I got him easily. Park all day.
So the one fight I didn't like from Park, but it was a split decision. The fight could have went either way with him and Eric Anders. Anders did shoot a lot. And he went like 3, 4. Just like behind 3 takedowns out a lot of attempts.
3 for 24, yeah.
3 for 24. But when he did get taken down, Park, first he laid there for a little bit. Okay, breather. Then once he knew he had to get up, he got up. The one thing I will worry about is Muniz has fought the better comp. Yes, you look at Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen's going to be look like one of the sneakiest contenders at 185. Paul Craig, I didn't expect Paul Craig to knock him out. I'll say that right now. That was one I did not expect. Nobody in their mom expected Paul Craig. I thought it was going to be a boring grappling match, per se. But, he does have good wins, especially over Jacare Sosa, where he had no problem taking Sosa down. And what happened? He snapped his damn arm. That was the only thing that scares me about Park. I love Park as a fighter as a whole. But lately, he's thinking he's a grappler. Don't do that this fight. Park, yes, he's been winning by submission now. Rear naked chokes.
Well, that's because he puts him on the ground.
You don't want to go to the ground on this fight.
I disagree. Muniz isn't because Muniz doesn't necessarily go for. He likes the arm bar. He likes to go down and try to hold basically what we saw last fight or last card. He likes them leaning over. He likes to try to pull the arm down and trap it. He's not going to be able to do that against Park. So I don't mind it at all.
That's the only thing that would scare me because, like, as a fighter, I like Park, but I'm actually going Muniz as a dog. I think people are going to keep sleeping on him. Yes, he lost to two guys that contend within the top 10. That's two not bad losses. But the bad loss was the Paul Craig knockout. I didn't like that. But I think Muniz is no, honestly, I think Muniz is going to be the stronger one. He's the bigger guy.
I disagree.
I think, look, if I think and one thing I do like about him, his takedowns are actually accurate, though. Anders does it first. Okay, I'm going to control you. And then when you least expect it, that's when he goes for the takedowns and trips. Muniz will actually go for double legs, single legs, trips. I give him for that. But I think he's a sneaky dog. But if you told me that Parks, said, screw it, I can go ahead and win this fight just by throwing hands, he would not shock me. He gets it done within the first 2 rounds. But I actually like Muniz as a dog. And I think people are going to hopefully have him on lower owned. And I think he's live for, if he's going to win, it's going to be by submission at some point.
I think you're crazy. I think
I
Muniz
may be
scores
crazy, but you know what was crazy though? When I said that who out of the 1-2 dog favorites last week was going to lose, and I was like, either Reese or what's his name? And guess what? Both of them almost freaking lost. And I told you, I'm like, oh my god, Ehor, and then Ehor got tired, got taken down, and got mollywopped. And then Brunnage, I didn't pick Brunnage, but all I said is I have a feeling one of those are going to lose. But I didn't expect them to get, incredible hawk smashed to the ground. But
yeah, those smashes are. I mean, the 2 in 1
legal,
card.
like I understand, but the only thing I'll say is the most scariest one to me was that Joe Selecki one. I never
right
went
on his head, dude. Right on his head.
I lost air when I saw that. But
all right, so both of us are split on that one. You got the dog in Muniz. I've got the favorite Park. Next up, we got Nasrat Haqparast, the decision machine against Jamie Malarkey.
I'm fading this one.
Who you got in this one?
So pretty much I'm fading it. I went back and forth originally to who I would want to pick. I think I'm going to be on Haqparast this fight. And I just think Malarkey sucks, personally. This is my opinion. He's a little slight overrated. But could Malarkey, and I think Malarkey is the more dangerous guy, especially if the fight goes to the ground. But I will give Haqparast, he has decent enough takedown defense. I think he can keep it on the feet, keep his outside striking range, and as you said, be Mr. Boring Machine. I'm not playing for DFS, but if you're on the side of you think Malarkey can catch him, it's possible, but he's not really been finished in a long time, Haqparast. But I think this fight goes all 3 rounds, and I'm probably fading this fight as a whole.
I don't disagree. I've got Haqparast as well. If he comes out and throws the volume he did against Quinones in his last fight, I'd be even more on him because he went crazy in that fight. And Jamie Malarkey does not have much of a chin. So if he's smart, he will. He should just hit the gas pedal and just go. He could finish this fight. Hard to say what he's going to do. I find this fight to be GPP entirely because if Malarkey gets this to the ground, he's always live for a submission. But I'm on Haqparast, and it's GPP only for me.
I agree.
So both of us on Haqparast. Next up, we got Sue Muhari against Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott is taking this fight on short notice. However, he's also a veteran of the sport. Short notice doesn't really mean much for the cardio machine. I've got Elliott in this one. I'm not really sure what Sue Muhari is going to have for Elliott in this fight. If it stays on the feet, I'd take Muhari all day.
Yes.
Absolutely no doubt about it. His problem is going to keeping it on the feet. I got Elliott ever so slightly, but I would not be surprised if Sue pulled this off.
I'm also on Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott was under 2 minutes away from beating Makayev, and he was absolutely takedown and machining on Makayev, does what he wants, and unfortunately he got caught by sub. I don't think he needs to worry about the sub in this fight. I know Sumandarji has a sub win, but I don't think it's anything all that to that matter. I think this fight could start off a little bit slow. I think Sumandarji could use his range a little bit in round 1, try to keep Tim on the outside, but Tim doesn't need long to adjust. It might take him a couple minutes I got to move here, boom, boom. And it's just going to be a matter of time until he lets his hands go to drop levels and pick this kid up with no problem. Matt Schnell, who pretty much I say has no wrestling, and he's pretty much a BJJ blanket, he had no problem getting to him with the hands and getting down to the takedown. Tim, like I said, depending on how this fight goes, I'm going to have some Tim in my lineup, but mainly due to wrestling upside because Sumandarji does get up. But what happened? Tim Elliott, when he knows he can take you down, he is going to chain wrestle you the entire fight. And he's at a good price tag. What is it, like 8,400? He's at a good tag. That rate,
84, yep.
yeah, 8,400 finish. I think look, he can maybe could get a sneaky finish by sub.
The only
Um,
concern that I have with that is Tim Elliott, though he does have good cardio, his good cardio generally only lasts for 10, maybe 12 minutes before he really starts to just
slow.
heavy breathing and whatever else. So it's hard to say. And then 2 rounds, if you're only, fighting 2 rounds in a fight, you're going to only score between 80 and 90 generally. So it's
Yes.
tough call.
All it depends on how you feel about this fight. If I know Elliott goes straight in, just wrestling right away, he's gonna smash his tag.
Absolutely.
If he tries to toy and is like, look, short notice, I've been, active in the gym, that he's gonna try to bounce around with a striking fight, this fight might be a split decision of a sort. But I'm on Elliott. Hopefully he can pull it off. But because I've never seen Elliott really truly knocked out. And Sumi Darcy, does he have power to knock somebody out? Absolutely. But is he gonna be the person that's gonna flatline Tim? I don't see it.
Yep. So both of us going with the favorite and Tim Elliott. Co-main event is up next. We got Anthony Lionheart Smith against Khalil Roundtree Jr. And unless your pick changed, I know we are both on the dog in this fight, but let's hear what you got.
I turned out I didn't at first. I didn't really look at this card fully. I was like, man, from my scene, from like some names I noticed, it's gonna be a favorite card. Then I saw Anthony Smith being replacement for Mirzakhanov for Roundtree. I was actually waiting for that Mirzakhanov. That was gonna be a striking delight. I can't wait. Hopefully we get that fight down the road. Um, yes, Roundtree's been on a better roll, but has he really fought anyone that has the ability to change levels on him? Not really. And what happened has he had? He gets taken down. He can get stuck on his back. And if you get stuck on your back with Anthony Smith, good luck
You're
to
going
you.
to eat an elbow and a
You're gonna
lot
eat an
of them.
elbow. He's gonna try to open you up a little bit, distract you with that cut, and he's gonna go for your neck. I think this is a get right spot for Anthony Smith. Everyone's probably down on him. I don't think he won that split by Spawn. I thought Spawn actually won that fight.
I
Rewatching
thought
it,
I thought Smith won it. I think he
it was
had
close.
turnover,
Like
but it
both
was
guys
close.
it was close. I thought Spawn slightly got it, but I think Anthony is gonna find the back. I hope to God he comes in here aggressive. Just hopefully don't leave his chin down. Just hands up, chin down,
Yep.
buddy. Because if you try to go in there and just try to go wrecking ball with Khalil, he's gonna have a right hand meeting right on your chin, and you're gonna fall. But I like Smith to get a takedown. He might not get it round one to get the finish, but I think as soon as he gets a takedown, he can get the hooks in on Khalil. It's gonna be a whole different leaps of levels, and he's actually one dog I'm circling in all my lines, building with lineups. So I'm all over Anthony Smith tonight. I mean, not
Yep.
tonight.
I've got Anthony Smith as well. For pretty much all the reasons that you said. And for me, Khalil Roundtree, I mean, yeah, he's a good fighter or whatever you want to, say about him, but he's so limited to his range and his striking. He's one of those fighters that just kind of likes to come at you and pressure you to the cage. And pressuring Anthony Smith to the cage is going to get you taken down. Um, you do have to watch out for not only his fist, but that damn kick that he blew Bukatska's knee out with, because he will continually do that. Smith does have questionable, injuries in the past. So, I mean, it's definitely a close fight. There's a lot of people on Roundtree. They think that he's going to come out and just smash the shit out of Smith, and it's possible. But
Possible,
I,
but
I really like Smith in this one. I think he gets this down to the mat, and does his work down there. So both of us going with the dog and Anthony Smith. Next up, we have the main event. We got Yadong Song against Chris Gutierrez. And I know you, I don't know if you still think that he's live. Gutierrez, he's a live dog, but to me, not really a live dog. I think Song is way better in every aspect of this fight. And I think he just completely rolls him.
yeah, I'm over Song. I tried to watch some other fights, and the one fight that really caught me was Gutierrez and Munoz. Gutierrez didn't even check none of the kicks, but I'm not saying Sadong's gonna throw many kicks. But one thing I didn't like seeing from Gutierrez was he was on his back foot a lot, back against the cage, while Pedro was working in kicks, combinations. Even though Munoz didn't really land the cleanest on him, really, and then Gutierrez started finding range late. I think if he has that same type of approach and Sadong is able to absolutely close the distance, I know Gutierrez hasn't been knocked out before, but anything could happen. Song is probably one of the harder hitting 135ers I've seen in a long time. And he doesn't
Absolutely.
just throw the power. He will plant
Dude,
his foot in and bring his arm in with it. That's
he's
pure
ripped.
power. And look, he's at a good training camp with Uriah Faber. And if I had to guess who he could have been training with, first person I'll be calling from that camp is probably Sage Northcutt, someone that has a fluent type striking, similar to Gutierrez. That will try to use his 1-2s and try to throw in some kicks a little bit. Honestly, I think Sedong is going to probably win this fight. It is a smaller cage, so that also benefits Sedong, trying to close him, circle him out. I don't think it's going to be an early finish because I will give Gutierrez, he is tough, but maybe like a round 3, maybe start a round 4 championship round. Because Sedong, he showed in this fight with Ricky Simon, which was very impressive. He got that finish. It was a closer type fight, but Sedong was getting takedowns on him. I was shocked about. He was letting his hands go. Then round 5, he found the button. I think, like I said, round 4, I think Gutierrez is going to be like, oh shit, I can't believe I made this far. His cardio is going to go, and I think it wouldn't shock me if a late finish by Sedong. Because I think the fight could be a little bit closer-ish, but Sedong still winning the rounds 10-9, 10-9. But I think Sedong's going to win the fight, though. Like, I'm going to see how I'm going to try to rank the above him. Because this fight, I could maybe fade the main event. But if he gets a finish within the first 3, I think he pays it off. Because I know he's going to come in with volume. Who knows? Maybe he'll mix in a takedown, but I'll say for the most part, Gutierrez has decent takedown defense. So who knows? This might be a fight for. I think in cash, you're going to get to the main event. People are going to a lot of get to Sedong. Oh, maybe Gutierrez. And I know some people ask for cash. Is this stackable? I don't think this fight being stackable. If it's stackable, then I think Gutierrez is going to probably just play a boring circle game where Sedong still wins, but he's just going to circle, probably throw kicks, outside 1-2s, and just make it a boring freaking fight because it takes 2 to tango.
There's no
I don't
such
think he's
thing as
going
a
to
boring
tango with
fight with
Sedong.
Song.
I don't think he's going to tango with Song, bro. He is going to try to go 1-2 and try to circle the entire time
Nope.
because
I
he
think
stays in the
Song
pocket. I
Yadong.
think Sedong's going to catch him.
I think Song just beats the shit out of him.
Like I said, I'm all over
And
Song, but like I said, if you think he can pay off, what was it, 92?
well, and see, Gutierrez hasn't fought in championship rounds in
Nope.
like 10 years,
Yeah,
and
outside
never
the UFC.
and never in the UFC. So who knows what he'll look like in those rounds. But
Well, like I
and
said,
that's where I have in my my
yep.
article. I basically just said
That's
that I
what made my decision even more. Once I
yeah,
noticed it was a smaller cage. If you told me it was one of them bigger outside cages, I'm like, oh, this might be a closer. He might make this fight boring as shit. Circle, circle, kick. But I think, like I said, I still would have Sedong in the fight, but I would not be playing Sedong unless he gets a finish. Could he? Like I said, I'm expecting maybe a championship round finish.
yeah,
Does that
that's
still
what
pay
I
off his tag?
exactly what I listed. I
Yeah.
think it will. I think he's perfectly fine for
Because
everything.
honestly, if you're thinking between Park, Tyra, and Sedong, you're not getting to all 3 unless you find some deep dive in type underdogs. Like last week, a lot of dogs won. I don't see too many dogs winning this card, but
I will say that I currently do not have Yadong in my lineup,
I don't either.
but I do fully expect him to win, and I would not be surprised if he completely smashed his tag. So both of us going with the favorite and Song. That wraps up this card. I think both of us will just flat out say our favorite dog is Anthony Smith.
Easily.
Um, yeah, not
And
much
it's not
really with
like I
that.
said, to me, if I had to rank my 3 dogs, it don't mean I'm gonna have all 3 dogs in my line because I'm not. It's gonna be Smith. Next one, I'm not gonna lie, I'll probably say Muniz because of live ability with the submission, possibly because he has a very high finish rate. And then this one's in third. Is if her opponent can't be the nail, she can win a boring decision. But that's what's her name? Edgar. But I'm not playing Edgar. I'm more looking towards. I think her opponent could win. Paying off, we'll see. But to me, I'm probably looking the most with Smith and Muniz.
So that wraps up this card. We got one more card left.
A big one.
In the remaining year. It is UFC 296, Leon Edwards and Colby Covington. I'm excited to have Covington back in the ring.
So
I can't wait for this card. Pantoja against Royval as well. We got
Pantoja's my
Rachmanov.
dude.
Shavkat's back on the card. He's going to murder, Wonder Boy. We got Patty Pimblett and T. Ferg, Luque and
Patty
Ian
the
Gary. I mean, the
Batty.
card is just completely stacked. Josh Emmett got a new opponent in Bryce Mitchell, which I actually think
For this
hurts
card or next week? Next week.
next week.
Ooh.
Emmett's now taking on Mitchell. Mitchell stepping in short notice.
Oh.
You got Aldana and Hossa. You got Garbrandt, Kelleher. I mean, this card is just fucking
There's
stacked.
fights that should be on main cards for fight nights, and then some on even on pay
Yeah,
per view.
I mean, so like so that this, most of these cards have early prelims and prelims. The early prelims has Menafield and Jacoby. You'd find that on the main event or main card on any
Dude,
fight
you
night
can make
card.
that a main event on a damn
Um,
basic fight night card.
exactly. So I mean, that card next week is absolutely stacked.
Yeah, I'm not missing that one.
I can't wait to get to it. But yeah, so that wraps up this card. You got anything else?
Like I said, on this type of card, depending on how you are, the sports booking, I would watch out for. This might be a decent parlay card for some favorites. Hey, if you have any questions on props, ask questions in the comments. I'll gladly get to them. I'm always looking at comments. If you have a question about anything, ask me and Drake. We do answer the comments very frequently, and we get to them very quickly. And maybe on when we start in 2024, I have an idea, but we'll talk about it off. Maybe we'll see what happens, but try to get more community involved on questions if they have questions or anything for after the breakdown. If they want to ask them in a chat, we'll bring them up, answer them. But we'll see how 2020. We'll go into 2024 fresh and come up with some new shit.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, as always, we appreciate you watching, and we will catch you next week for UFC 296.